Hello, Hungary. I feel like I'm home. 4 years. What a journey it's been. I'm so happy. Mostly I'm so happy because I've spent 4 years being so sad. You might have read about this terrible thing that went on in America. We've never had a communist dictatorship, but it felt like we had one. It started with the presidency of Barack Obama, where all of us were made to feel ashamed if we thought that what was coming out of the White House just wasn't consistent with being an American. As soon as we criticized Barack Obama, we were smeared with this title, racist, and it just got started from there. After 8 years of Obama, our country was broken. Our spirit was broken. We didn't know anymore who we were, why we could be great. And then a man came down an escalator in a big tower that was emblazoned with his name. I had had this great opportunity to meet him before that moment. He was this man I had seen in movies, had read stories about, had lots of money, had a brash way about him. And I told him the story of CPAC. I was just becoming the chairman of CPAC. And President Trump, then just Donald Trump, did something very strange for a politician, because he wasn't a politician. He asked more questions than gave answers. And when I gave answers to his questions, he asked very difficult follow-up questions. He was studying in intricate detail what it would take to build the next version of a skyscraper, this version of Trump as America's president. It seemed like a crazy idea at the time. I remember walking away from that meeting thinking, he's really smart, a lot smarter than me. He's got great courage, but would the American people accept an outsider? They never had before. And sadly, one of the reasons why we accepted the outsider is because we were so broken. We were so broken that we didn't want to turn to politicians for answers. And Donald Trump became president, and CPAC was there with him every step of the way. We defended him on all the left-wing media. We normalized this idea, started by Prime Minister Viktor Orban, that a country should control its immigration. Believe it or not, in America, that was considered a racist idea. Control your immigration? Everybody should be able to walk in the front door as if they owned the house. And Donald Trump changed that in our country. And he did it in the nick of time. If he hadn't done it then, I don't even know where we would be in our big cities, which are so broken already. And Donald Trump did something else. He normalized this idea, and CPAC helped him. We normalized this idea, it's okay to be America first. It's okay. Miklos said it in the theme, right? Fatherland. That's sovereignty. That means we're for America. Viktor Orban and all of you are for Hungary. We want you to succeed, and you want us to succeed. It's a mutual admiration society. What do the globalists want to do? They want to get between you and your government and blackmail your government into doing what the elites want. And that had already happened in America, and Donald Trump reversed it. We reimagined this idea of American exceptionalism. We were told that American exceptionalism meant that you were a bigot, that you thought America was better than everybody else, with an implicit slur that that's because America's roots were inherently European. Over time, people began to realize that a world without a strong America, that's not a good place. That's not a safe place. 4 years of Joe Biden, 2 wars, a broken American economy, in many ways because of a broken American economy, a broken world economy, the effects you're feeling here and all over the globe, that is because of failed leadership coming out of the United States of America, which, whether Americans like it or not, we have an outside outsized role to play in all these questions of world security and the world economy. 4 years of Joe Biden brought us right back to where we were, broken, angry, mad at each other. And Donald Trump was sitting down in Mar-a-Lago, and I asked him a question during those out years. And I said, why would you ever want to do this all over again? And he said, I don't think our country can survive if it stays on this path. And he was right. You know, I wouldn't consider Donald Trump a churched man, but God has his hand on his shoulder, I think both shoulders. He's put on this earth to do something great. In making America great, he's giving all of us hope, all of us who love freedom, all over the world. We were just in Poland, where they have an important election on Sunday, and the people of Poland are worried. There was an important election in so many of these important countries. People are worried. The entire globe is on a knife's edge. Will we embrace freedom, or will we fall into the tyranny that comes from the globalists? You know the story of America. You know the story of what the left has done, taken over social media, taken over our courts. It's a very demoralizing thing to know that if you have the values enshrined by CPAC, that they lie about you in the media, that you can't win in the courtrooms in America, in our major cities, that they've convinced your children and your grandchildren to hate you, to think that your country's an evil and bad place, a malign influence on the world. This was the America of Joe Biden. And sadly, it actually wasn't the America of Joe Biden, because Joe Biden wasn't even really there. It was the America of those people behind the power, who wield the real power. A sinister and villainous overtaking coup of a free country, dictating policies that created such misery. And so with the victory of Donald J. Trump, a victory that the people of CPAC feel in their hearts because they stood by President Trump in 2015 and 2016 through his first term, through the 4 years that he was out of power. And then you have this conversation in democracies. The Republican Party in our country was trying to determine whether Donald Trump was yesterday's news or tomorrow's promise. And too many said, yesterday's news. Can't win, too old, made too many people upset. But the people of CPAC said, those are the reasons we love him. He makes all the right people upset. He makes them sweat. And Donald Trump decided to run, became our president. And now you're seeing activity and action and decision-making like we've never seen before. And so I say to your brave, strategic, critical Prime Minister Orban, there's a new breeze blowing. And that breeze, right, is at our backs, and we're going forward. And it's making a huge impact. I know that when the war started with Ukraine, your Prime Minister was on the case from the first second go, trying quietly to use diplomacy to get to a ceasefire, to get to peace, to get to at least a normalized economic situation. The moralizers in America want to determine who are the good guys and the bad guys. And they've been doing that for 50 years. Sometimes they get it right. A lot of times they get it wrong. But mostly they try to deceive the American people about why we should do something around the globe. It's important for America to be more humble and to listen to the people that have to bear the effects of wars and conflicts. And I believe that peace is possible. I believe that peace is possible because people need to do things like raise their families, run their businesses, be able to buy things, be able to have the energy they need to run their economy. I believe that what's happening in the Middle East is a terrible tragedy. I think this rise of anti-Semitism in America is a disgrace. It's coming from the belly of our universities, and it needs to stop. Donald Trump understands that. You don't have to like religious people. You can have your own relationship, whether good or bad, with God, who's your creator, whether you like it or not. He is your creator. In America, we call it freedom. You're allowed to have that freedom. By the way, that freedom exists for Christians, and it exists for Jews. It exists for everyone, but it absolutely exists for the people of the Bible. And so we all understand you have a prime minister in Viktor Orban who stood up and said no. Sometimes it's a lonely, solo voice. No to the insanity of the woke ideology, of trying to push this idea of gender transition on our children, or this idea that families are no longer important for the raising of children, or this crazy idea that Hungarians shouldn't determine their own course, write their own constitution, and have their own ideas of what it means to make a strong Hungary. And in America, we have this unique leader from a larger country that's decided to be oftentimes a solo voice to stand up and say no and say yes to things that we need to have happen. And that's what you'll see coming from America for the next 4 years. And CPAC will play its appropriate role, which we've come to love, which is to do everything we can to help our president to make America great again. But CPAC's greater role, and a role that you all must participate in, is to make sure that these leaders, your leader Viktor Orban, our leader Donald Trump, the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, the prime minister of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and many others, these great leaders, our role is that when they stand up and they are alone and they are attacked and they are maligned and all the pressure is brought upon them, upon their spouses, upon their children, upon their families, upon their allies, upon their supporters, all the pressure, the lawfare, the lies, the charges of hatred, our job is to stand up for them. Our job is to help them pay their legal bills. Our job is to go on media and combat the lies, to fight, to fight, to fight. And we can have a lot of fun in making this fight, because I believe, humbly, that God's put us on this earth to fight for truth and to fight for a system of government that allows people to flourish, that allows people to live for a larger purpose than just their lives. And this is the calling of CPAC. It's our great honor to be back in Hungary, which is the most special of places where we have CPAC. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your commitment to freedom. And may God bless Hungary and its beautiful people. Thank you very much. Thank you.